Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to open the City of Benton Harbor Commission meeting up and call it to order. We'd like to begin with an invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Singleton, could you please lead us in the invocation? And Mr. City Manager, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? All rise.
Father God, we come now. Father, thank you for this day, Father God. Father, we come now lifting up this meeting before you, Father God. I ask you to bless it, Father God. Look over it and give us the right mind, Father God, to do the business, Father God, that you would see fit, Father God. Father, these and other blessings we ask in your darling Son. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Not much.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Present. Is this on?
Commissioner Henderson,
Present.
Commissioner Henry,
Present.
Commissioner Isom,
Present.
Commissioner Kennard,
Present.
Commissioner Singleton,
Present.
Commissioner Warren,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats, Mayor Mohammed.
Present.
You have a quorum.
This brings us to approval of minutes, April 7, 2025. Is there a motion for the approval?
Motion for the approval.
Motion is made by Commissioner at Large Isom. Is there a second?
Support.
It is supported by First Ward Commissioner Henderson. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
No.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
I'm sorry, we're approving the minute?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
No.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to approval of accounts payable listing. Is there a motion for the approval?
So move.
Motion is made by First Ward Commissioner Henderson. Is there a second?
Second.
It is second by Commissioner at Large Isom. Is there discussion? Carry none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
No.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
No.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
No.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to our first presentation, which is the Yarborough Park dedication. Is there a representative here? And I do ask, just for housekeeping information, please power your phones off or put them on vibrate to avoid disruptions of the meeting, please. Please state your name and organization.
I am Tracy Robinson. I'm the new Senior Manager, Community Relations and Managing Director of Whirlpool Foundation. So, we wanted to finally invite you to the Yarborough Park dedication, which will take place on May 17th. Should be on your calendars at 3:00 p.m. So I would invite Mrs. Yarborough, if you would like to say a few words.
Thank you very much. I had that in my report, so it won't be that long. There is a dedication. I stopped down a couple of times looking at the building, and it will not be pushed over. It is so sturdy and all. And it's a short program, but it's so important. And I don't know what year that was built, but I know it's at least 50, 60 years old, and it's been well taken care of. And I hope that continues. But I watched mailmen and different people in cars that used to stop at those porta-johns, so there's real need for good public restrooms. And I'm so thankful that the City of Benton Harbor and Whirlpool Corporation have gone together and is making that happen. Thank you.
I would also like to invite you to our Day of Impact. This is our 4th year that we are doing this within the community, and that will be held on Tuesday, June 24th, and we are revitalizing Morton Park. So we are truly excited about that in regards to the vision that we've seen, and that I think you all will be very proud that we continue to work with city officials to support your plan, your master plan for the community. So on behalf of Whirlpool Corporation, I wanted to let you all know about that. And as we move forward closer to that date, I will make sure to continue to update you. But that should also be on your calendars as well. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. I know most of you. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. I'm here to continue to build that positive bridge between Whirlpool Corporation and the city. So we're all just sitting at the table, making sure that we're doing the best we can for this community, which is very dear to my heart as well. So, any questions? Okay, well, thank you. I will see you at vote. Thank you.
The Day of Impact
Yes,
at Morton, would you
Yes.
like to speak to that?
I just did, kind of, really. So yes, that's Tuesday, June 24th,
Okay.
at between 8:30 and 5, but you will have more information as we get closer to the date.
Okay, thank you. This brings us to our update from our county commissioner, the Honorable Mamie Yarbrough. In what district again?
District 4.
District
And
4.
it has been expanded when they made the 4 years, instead of just doing 2 to 4, and I now have Harbor Shores. I'm sorry. The over the Jim Clark Park, which I should have had in the first place, it's in the city of Van Harbor. But it was given to Coloma, Haber Shore, something like that, until just the last time they redistricted and did things.
I'm glad I asked.
Is that interesting?
It is very interesting.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
You have the floor.
I have a number of things that I want to tell you about, and at some point, our Commissioner Chokwe Pitchford asked Berrien County to make a resolution, and the resolution was to name April 24th as Richard Hunt Day and have a celebration. And they passed that resolution, and we all signed it. And so in the city of Chicago and the city of Benton Harbor, Michigan, it's the 24th is Richard Hunt's Day. And so at the studio, they're having activities for children, face painting, hot dogs, all kinds of things. And it's on Facebook. And I just called and talked to Vaughn Sims, and he dropped these off for us. So I have a few, and I can leave them here with the clerk if it's all right. She at least could make some to go to the commissioners, and you just pass them out and hope they'll go further. But I ask you all, please, to support and help this building to be well used. And it was given to the city, and I don't know if it was President Nixon or Reagan. It was going to be Job Corps. And that building, after they got you doing all the work, putting money in it, did not fit school standards. It wasn't sprinkled right, it wasn't this, it wasn't that. It was going to be teaching welding. And then in Vincent Place, it was going to be bakery. They'd be teaching bakery. They had ordered bowls that were big as this table and tall as a person, and then they would stay at Vincent. So it was a lot of things going on. We have a lot of history, and they put a lot of money in it, and they didn't pass what makes a school, and so it was not used for that. And then eventually that building, Hunt's building, was sold to something, I think it was called Bibco, and it was the family, was Lacey's, who had that factory. Some of you all may remember, some of you may not be old enough to know. So it's just interesting. Benton Harbor is an interesting place to be. But I want to also talk to you about tomorrow, April 22, at 1 o'clock. There is going to be an event where picture of Richard Hunt will be unveiled in the in the Mamie L. Yarbrough Library. And it was painted by a gentleman that works with Benton Spirit. And so it will be dedicated, and we have a beautiful collection. We have one of our employees that is a retired teacher that's been buying Richard Hunt's books and studying about it and all, plus the library buys books, so it will be a dedication at 1 o'clock tomorrow, and it will stay up through May. But we have books and different things, and I don't know that they can be checked out, but you can come and look at them and, learn more about them. And what I knew when he was alive, he loved coming here. And he would open up the garage on his building, and he'd just be putting around. He wasn't, welding and all that, but he stored a lot of things there, and he was happy when people stopped and talked with him. And this is written, I saw it written, that somebody said, why would you want to be in Benton Harbor? He said, why would I want to be in Benton Harbor? He said, Benton Harbor is full of opportunities. He didn't say opportunity, opportunities. And so it was just a good place, and everybody knows it, and we should know it. What I would like to talk to you just a minute about is, again, we've been doing interviews for directors of the Yarbrough Public Library.
Right.
And we had a lot of people to apply, but there are schooling requirements and all. And the number one is that you have a master's degree in library science. We had a lot of people to apply, not any from our community, but from other places. And we got it down to 2 people. And we interviewed a young woman that lives in Austin, Texas, and a gentleman that lives in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we were able to bring them here, and we had a schedule going and working, and where they came, they didn't know who the other one was, but we did the interviews. We invited all the elected officials, because Benton Harbor, I keep saying that, the library is sponsored by Benton, City of Benton Harbor, and then Benton Charter Township. And they put in a bit of money each year into our budget. But the main thing is that penal fines, which are based on population, and other things that can happen from the library, state of Michigan, are based on population. So we get to use the population of Benton Charter Township in addition to the population of the city of Benton Harbor. And that's how much money we get from different millages and just a number of things, the way we're financed. Because it's expensive, you all know everything is in books and computers, and we write grants and all those kinds of things. So the library is doing well, and we want to keep those kinds of things going and to have people that can do it. The 2 people we interviewed, we wish that we could hire them both. It was something. And I thank you all, commissioners, that was able to come. We had lunch for the commissioners, and I know it's during a work day, but it would give a person a chance to have some personal time. They came, they flew in, they came to us. That evening, we took them out to dinner. This was separate, all in 1 week, though. And we introduced them to the staff. We showed them around the building a little bit, and then we had more questions for them. We had asked questions on Zoom, and then we did it in person. After we had lunch and with whatever officials were there and the staff, we all ate together, and being mindful of not having a majority of board members in the room, at the same time. In the afternoon, we gave them a ride. We rode them around Benton Harbor, St. Joe, the area they would cover. And one of the applicants was a Franciscan monk, and he wore a robe, a brown, long robe. And it rained, snowed, it did everything that day. We were bringing it like, you have a coat, you got a hat, so that they would be comfortable and wouldn't be cold. And they were just so observant. It's a young woman. She went to school or lived in Texas, but her mother and father live in Benton Harbor. They had bought a piece of property, and they're not real old, but as they got older, they moved here permanently, so she knew our community, but she didn't go to school here. Because I said, what school did you go to? I didn't know how she got in Texas, but she always lived in Texas, but she'd come here in the summer as a child and just kept on thinking. And when that came up, it was like, wow. You know, she was very much interested. He's very much interested. I heard him say, well, I've been in Philadelphia for 10 years, so he's ready to do something else. And they're both librarians. That's their first care. And they talk about literacy. So many people talk about that. And I have friends and know people that was in that literacy. They had to go get new license, new all kinds of things, because their signature did not match what it used to be, or perhaps they were making a mark, making an X. So there are things that we're going to really concentrate on. And these two people, that's what we gave them an hour to talk and say and tell about themselves. Say anything you want to say, and then a time for people to ask questions. And so I hope that it was valuable to those, you know, that were there. And we're just real proud. We're not able to say, we hope that tomorrow is our regular meeting, that we could say who the people would be, but we had to put things with the attorney so we can do this right. It was on this far doing things right. And one of the things that I'm so pleased with, you all know Marion Triplett. She's a member of our library board, and she represents, she's a representative from Benton Charter Township. And she wondered if she could put together this process for us to interview and to hire a director. Because she's working on her doctorate. And we said, oh my. And she did that, and she stayed out of things, even when we were on Zoom or whatever, she was in the room, but she wasn't asking questions she helped us move on. And we were able to do this in a first-class way. And so that's what I'm real proud of. And so as soon as we have information, we may call a special meeting or something, but then after you get the attorney stuff, you have to talk to the people to see do they still want to come. But God is all in this, and so we just know it's going to be all right. So what I wanted to tell you, and if you have questions, we can talk or, you know, whatever, anytime you'd like to. I'd like to give you a report on the treasure. We work to put money in local banks. Berrien County works to put money in local banks. And we are mindful of the insurance, how high it can be. And so all the local banks, our treasurer made deposits in them. And what happened with that, ending December 31st, 2024, we had made $2,340,000 interest on the money that we put in local financial institutions, let me say that, not just bank, but financial institutions. That's just a little bit, because the majority of our money is put in with a company called MEDER, M-E-E-D-E-R, Public Funds. And what they do is bonds and stocks and land and all kinds of things. So Berrien County is doing well financially. And then I want you to know that it's time again for that sale that I wish and hope that we could get in. It's on the computer. When the treasurer started out, and as you all know, she was doing appointments in the city. She ended up being in one city maybe 3 times, like it was 3 months or something. People did not have to have an appointment. They would come in and, you know, wait as their turn came. They talked, and she was asking if they had paid homestead taxes. These are things you all should listen to. And I have some papers here I'd like to again leave with the clerk that you can look at for yourself. Check and see, are you registered right, so that you can get all the benefits that you can on your taxes and things like that, or to fix your house. There's so many things that we're eligible for. You just gotta read it, gotta look for it, and gotta do it. Follow through and see what happens. So she was able to straighten some people out, and she said what she found was people said, my electric is high, my gas, this is why I can't pay these taxes, and especially as people get older. And these taxes, when people say, well, you just want to take their house, they're 3 years behind. and anything else that could have been added to it sometimes, trash pickup or water bills, or it just gets out of hand. And so, she works with them, and the previous, treasurer worked with people to try to help them get their business straight. And I want to let you know, that this will be on the computer, that the tax foreclosure sale is all over Berrien County. It's vacant lots, occupied businesses, garages, vacant land, occupied houses, unoccupied abandoned houses. You see these houses that had fire? They had insurance on it. They got the insurance money and left. It wasn't that it wasn't insured. It was that they didn't pay, they had at least moved, demolished or whatever it's in that shape. And so what happened was, when she started, after the 3 years, there was 1,676 parcels on our tax roll that was delinquent 3 years. When she got through, there were 134. They went into payment plans, or, they went into something, and we got down to 134 properties will be in this tax sale that will happen August 27th. It's about a month that is posted on the computer, and you can look at a yard and see a little piece of, some kind of colorful piece of paper that makes you know that's on the tax sale. But you can go on your computer and you go in the treasure and look for lots or foreclosure or all of that, or call them. And you'll know the county number, and it'll help you. Then that second sale, and I think they start things at $100 when they used to start at $50, will be October or November. And all that's on the computer. I just would like to have a second to see that. I told you about Richmond. I told you about the roof thing at the library tomorrow. And I'd like to leave this. And this is what the young man, Hama, at the library. If you ever need anything or want to know how to do your phone or fix your computer, whatever, we made these flyers, and then you push one button and it went everywhere on my computer, whereas I was typing in people's names and things. And so please, use our library for all kinds of reasons, support us, come to the events we have, look at using the auditorium. It's the most reasonable rate anywhere. We close early, but still, I ask that you do that. I would like to let you know that in the summer, we do night meetings in Berrien County. So many times people say, well, I can't come at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. So the first Thursday of each month, May, June, July, August, we will be having night meetings, and they're at 6 o'clock. One is in New Buffalo, one is in Three Oaks, one is in Wannabe, and one is at Michigan State Extension. That's on Hillingdon Road, right up there. So I thank you, sir, for that time, and help us and pray for us. Pray for the library.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This brings us to our public participation, citizens' comments. There is a 3-minute maximum per speaker. Please sign in with the clerk, and she will call you based upon the sign-in sheet. I yield to the city clerk.
Tony? Right, is that correct? Yeah. Okay.
My name's Tony Murphy, and complain about the trash in Ben Harbor. You guys give us one trash can, and that trash can, most family, probably 4 or 5 people in the family, that trash can can't hold a lot of trash. So I went to the street manager, and I talked to the secretary, and she was saying that you gotta get 2 cans or get a sticker to put on whenever you got. Most folks, senior citizen can't afford 2 cans.
a lot of them can't afford 2 cans. And the ones that don't get it, when they come pick it up, they leave it out there, and trash go everywhere, all in other folks' yards, for folks that they're not picking it up. So what good is just leaving it there, and it's going all down the street, all in other folks' yard? So I figure you guys need to get a bigger can where they be able to put their trash in. Or back in the day, they picked up all the trash. If you guys say about the money, you're getting grants, you're getting government money. Spend it on some of the trash. That's the way I see it. And like I said, I've been down right through Ben Harbor. I got pictures. Those got mattress, box spring all on the side of their house. Because they can't pay to get it picked up. Trash all in the streets, all up and down the street. Garbage man went down Pearl today, dumped the can, left all the garbage everywhere else. Taxpayers paying for this. I'm a taxpayer. I had a box with 1 bag in it. They that lazy they can't pick that up and throw it in the trash can? That don't make sense, man. That's why Ben Harbor looks so bad now. Trash everywhere. They taking it all in town, stuff dumping it. Going around the curb on Broadway, going around the curb. A lot there. Matches, garbage bags, all kind of trash. From people from Ben Harbor carrying it there because they ain't able to get rid of it. So I feel something needs to be done about it. You getting tax money, you getting tax out of folks' checks. They paying tax out their checks. Something needs to be done. And I don't want to go from house to house and get the people to come down here. Well, you know, some of them senior citizens too. So, you know, one of them got a bed rest. She can't do nothing but stay there. She got a garbage can and, you know, bed rest. You got all type of stuff coming out that house. If they don't pick it up, they're leaving it there. That's bad, man. So I want to come down and let y'all hear that. So something be done. I talked to the lady up in the city manager office, say the manager been down, 3 weeks or something. Well, everybody else been down there for a while, so I think something happened, man. Other than that, Ben Harbor, the lowest city around. Everybody else, ain't no trash nowhere. St. Joe, Waterville, Lee, Columbia. Ben Harbor, you drive down the street, house, 3 or 4 mattresses on the side of the house, bags sitting out there in front of their house, trash blowing out in other folks' yard. They keep their yard clean.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I hope something gets done, man.
Gwen Johnson.
Hello, everyone. Hi. Gwen Johnson, 1198 Monroe Street, Benton Harbor, Michigan. I'm here to speak on the resolution that you guys passed a couple of weeks ago about the parks, the fees of the parks to the residents. I watched the video. I wasn't here, but I watched the video, and I'm wondering why it wasn't a discussion or why it wasn't allowed to be separated, those items allowed to be separated on the agenda. Per usual, those items, agenda items are usually allowed to be approved and then discussed and separated. And it wasn't allowed, right? I saw Commissioner Ethel Clark-Griffin's hand up. It was up. I saw the mayor look that way. Why he didn't see her hand, I don't know. But I know her hand was up to separate those items. She had her hand up and she was ignored. But you say you didn't see it. But that brings me to, that constitutes why this should be a discussion. It should be brought back up for a discussion. The public was not, the public was not aware, most of the public was not aware of these fees, $150 and $100 for the residents to be charged to use these parks, our city parks, is absurd and insane to me. I think that this should be brought back up for discussion. It should have been allowed, the public should have been allowed to have their input, their buy-in on this. We elected you all to do what's right for the citizens. And to me, not having a discussion for the residents and even some of the commissioners to voice their opinion on this is not right. There was no town hall. I saw the mayor said that it was vetted, beat down, all of this other things with the committees or whatever. But the community didn't have any weigh-in on it. Why wasn't it a town hall? Why wasn't it addressed to the community or publicized to the community for us to have a say in what happens with our parks? Now, I don't have a problem with deposits. That's fine. But on top of the deposit, $150 and $100 for us to have to pay, that's ridiculous. Every time I turn around, there's a fee. The water rates, the trash, the parks. I understand. I know I'm about to leave, but I just want to say, please, let this come back up for a discussion, for the community to have a say-so in it, for the other commissioners to have to weigh in on it, because it was not right for you not to separate these items or allow someone to separate these items and allow a discussion for this topic. Thank you.
No more comments.
This brings us to our consent calendar. Is there a motion for the approval of the consent calendar, or are there items that should be separated? Chair recognizes Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Mayor, I would like to see 1 and 2 discussed out in public. Thank you.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion is made by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Is there a second?
Support.
It is supported by Commissioner at Large Singleton. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
No.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
We're approving the third one?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Isom,
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard.
This is for discussion?
This is for the consent calendar. The only item left is number 3.
Buy some property.
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the first separated item, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract for the removal and cleanup of dead trees and limbs. Is there a motion for the approval?
So move.
It is moved by Commissioner at Large Singleton. Is it supported?
Support.
It is supported by Commissioner at Large Isom. And is there discussion? The chair recognizes Third Ward Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. I did listen to a committee that it came through. I think it was Public Safety. Unfortunately, our co-chair or our chair was the only one there, and I heard all the questions that were asked. I did read a little bit more about and have a little understanding that it is city property, that we're going after these fallen trees. And that was appealing to me. I'm I'm looking at $11,000, $11,700, and they're not cutting down any trees. They're cutting up trees, and they're picking up twigs and branches. Don't know how many properties there are. Don't know exactly where the locations are. I asked. 17 sites.
Properties are right here.
Okay. I got a chance to ride through and look at some of those, and I mean, they are not big trees. There's a lot of twigs and branches, so I just have a problem with us spending money on projects like this, and I heard the city manager say that Section 3 and jobs were not being applied to this project. So I'm just having problems that $11,000 for the job is a little high, way high, and there's no jobs that are going to be allowed to our Ben Harbor residents to pick up limbs and twigs. I'm not sure how many trees are down. I only saw one. Might be more, because I didn't get a chance to ride around. So I just have to be cautious as how we spend the people's money.
Chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Kennard.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things that I have been riding down through the city and saw, and I want to be sure that a lot of the money for emergency trees and things like that is danger was supposed to come out of the city income tax. Being that they have already voted $400 and some many dollars out of that fund into the general fund, I'm wondering how much money is there that they can take down a lot of those trees that are completely hollow. They fell over and they're completely hollow, and some that's still standing, but you can see that they're completely rotted down. So the next strong wind that we have, there's more fallen trees, branches, and everything all over the city. So it sort of bothers me that they're ready to spend out money from where? Where's this money coming from? What fund?
Community Development Block Grant, federal money.
Okay. But also there was emergency money that was supposed to come out of the city income tax. And I'm wondering if that's a playground for you to have that money to do as you please and use this money that you're using to get these trees taken care of.
Could you please clarify what playground money is?
Playground means that use it for whenever and whatever you want to, instead of using it for what it was intended for in the beginning.
The city income tax, by resolution, is structured to have the money spent for sidewalks, alleys, streets, infrastructure,
And trees was mentioned also in that.
and emergencies as deemed by the Benton Harbor City Commission. So if the money is spent outside of the scope of what is authorized, then an emergency would have to be voted upon. And then in that, it would have to be specified what the emergency or why those funds will be used for something outside of the infrastructure scope.
Well,
So it very well could be used, if you have trees that are endangering the community, then that's something that would need to go through Public Safety Committee and the Personnel and Finance Committee and brought before the City Council.
public safety never come to us with things that is a problem or hazardous to the city and to its people.
Well, that type of recommendation typically comes from the office of the city manager. However, if a city councilman, ward, or at large were to point out to the city manager trees that are endangering the community, I'm sure he would act swiftly.
As a commissioner, we are to look for those items too, those problems that would be harmful to our community too. After all,
That's
there's a
what I
lot of
said.
knocks on the doors and ask for their votes. So we are to be in place to protect them, be a voice for them. And I see a lot of trees that's just standing, and they're not a minute hardly from falling.
Have you brought that to the city manager's attention?
I'm bringing it to your attention now, that you can have them to do that.
Well, the office of the mayor is not day-to-day affairs.
Well, I'm mentioning it here, we got 9 of us
Order.
here.
He's not supposed to be going back and forth with her, with Commissioner Gannat.
She's speaking
Enough
to the
already.
chair,
It
And I'm
don't matter.
responding.
Point of order.
I do have the authority and the right to
Point of
respond
order.
to someone speaking to the chair. That's part of Robert's rules.
Not speaking, please don't tell me about Robert Rule. I can run circles.
Please proceed, Mrs. Commissioner Kennard.
Don't even go there.
That'll be the end of it. I just want the community to know that I'm speaking in behalf of them. If a tree should fall and damage one of those cars, and I have already mentioned about the hollow trees that I see, many of them still standing.
Well, I would recommend that you,
And this is not my job to actually, I come here and voice it. Then you're supposed to give it to the proper direction that it's supposed to go to.
well, as you can see in this resolution, there's specific places, Hall Park, 381 Summit, 405 Summit, 870 Levette, 1051 Levette, where if certain addresses and locations are brought, maybe pictures, to point out to the city manager, then I'm sure he'll be able to assist. But thank you. Is that noted, Mr. Manager?
Yes.
Chair recognizes the city manager.
If I could remind the commissioner, this is the third year now that the city's Community Development Block Grant Program has included an activity for downed trees and limbs. It also includes in it a provision that any private property owner who has a tree or large limbs down can petition us to take that out. If they pay 1/3 of it, the city CDBG program will pay 2/3 of it. Now, this particular instance, we've got 17 locations, all city-owned. It was put out for public bid, and Madam Clerk, do you recall how many bids we received?
I believe we received 5.
Right, and the highest of those was about, if you recall.
30-something thousand,
Yeah,
I want to say.
They were significantly higher. And when you are talking about tree work, any part, just removing a dead tree or limb, that's not cheap stuff. Those costs are quite high. At the airport, we just paid $9,000 for 3 trees that had to be removed. So, in essence, by going out for bid like this, with specific locations for each bidder to go and look at, we had pictures of the trees that were down on it, and the specifications included that when they finished removing these trees, that they would cut them up and dispose of them properly in a proper landfill or whatever location they're permitted to. It also provided that if there are gouges in the lots, they would smooth those out, and if there was any other junk on the lot when they left, the lot would be clean. I don't know whatever else we could or should do in that instance. As a matter of fact, this week is the last week in which and just kind of remind you, every year, May 2nd, the feds do a count on exactly how much money we spent. And we're to have spent, I believe, 80% of all money available to us. This is the last week in which they're getting ready to do that. And what we're doing right now is closing out the final pieces that have to be done on that. This Wednesday, we'll be doing the community comment period on the next year's grant, which will also include a trees provision in it. That comes under the slum and blight provisions, I'm sorry. That comes under the slum and blight provision of CDBG regulations. All of our activities have to be consistent with federal priorities that are listed, and slum and blight is one of them. That's where we do what we do to try to deal with unsightliness and that kind of thing.
I call for the question.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Henry?
No.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard?
No.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
No.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to the second separated item, resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with B&Z for the 2025 CDBG sidewalk and Empire Sidewalk projects. Is there a motion for the approval?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion is made by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Is it supported?
Support.
It's supported by Commissioner Singleton. Is there discussion? Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. If I'm right, and I really didn't get a chance to investigate this, HUD money being on this project is $98,895. Is that under the threshold that we can use Section 3? And that's a question to the city manager.
Yes, ma'am, it is under the threshold. The HUD threshold for Section 3 requirements is $200,000. But whether we have Section 3 applying or not, if the opportunity is there to get local people hired, we try and do that anyway.
So my problem is we keep taking community development block grant money that's geared exactly for sustaining the citizens, the residents of Benton Harbor, but we keep using the money to take care of government, like the last project. It's city property that we're using that money for. But if you really look at what HUD allocates and wants the money, community development block grant money is for the residents' sustainability. And we keep going in another direction over and over and over, and that's very disheartening to me. We got other projects that B&Z, they work here in our community. I've asked over and over and over for a report as to how many Benton Harbor residents they actually employ. There's not been an answer yet. So that's one of my problems with this. If we don't get any jobs, if 49% of the people are below poverty, and we don't get any jobs and we don't get any training, this home rule community is going to burst open. It's not allowing people, infrastructure, the people infrastructure, to grow. So when I see money being spent like this, and then they tell me we're gonna try to get jobs, it hasn't worked in 20 years. So that try is not working. We need to find another way to make it work. I keep hearing the apprenticeship programs getting bigger and bigger, but I don't see us reaching out to do anything other than to tax the people. So that's my issue on this one. Thank you.
So I just want to commend City Manager for all the construction work, and the City Council as well, who approved the projects where the City of Benton Harbor, we have one of the most vibrant construction seasons taking place right now with our sidewalks, with our streets, with the water mains. It's all over the city. And as Commissioner Singleton would say, in the neighborhoods. One of the things that developers and community development specialists look at sidewalks as arteries. This is how students walk to school. This is how property values increase. Sidewalks is how people can use them for walking. If you go to other communities, I heard somebody mention St. Joe and some of the others where they have sidewalks. Right now, Benton Township is spending a pretty penny in putting sidewalks on Napier and in other areas where their residents can enjoy walking. So the Community Development Block Grant is not only to be used for job development, but community development and building your neighborhoods. And these are areas where the block grant dollars qualify because they have to be used in areas that qualify from a financial standpoint, and it's being done in those neighborhoods. So, and then to Mr. Little's point, this money has to be spent by a certain amount of time. And as we already see where money is being clawed back by the feds when it's not being spent at the appropriate time. So we want to be consistent, we want to be on point, and we want to have the money drawn down, and we want it going toward projects that are eligible based upon the federal guidelines. And what's in front of us is eligible. And I believe this came through Mayor Pro Tem Seats Committee. You recognize.
Honorable Mayor, just for a point of clarity, we don't have to press the button no more, do we?
Currently, you do not. There are some issues with the system. They're coming to fix that, so in the future, you probably will have to go back to push
All
that
right,
button.
because I know now, for some reason, I'm not having to press this button. It's a use it or lose it factor. CDBG is not something new. We've been dealing with this for 12 years, and finally, we're able to do some things for the community. I mean, the roads are looking phenomenal in the city of Benton Harbor, even though people are using them for race cars. And to put new sidewalks in is something that's remarkable in our own community. We often talk about stuff that's happening downtown, but this is not a downtown thing. The inner city is being affected, and city manager, as he so stated, when, just a little bit of point of history, that we're getting ready to lose CDBG money. CDBG was on life support before Mr. Little got here. We were on the verge of losing $2 million of CDBG money, and that's factual. It's documented, all that. And yearly, for a few years after, we had to report to them almost like going to the principal's office every month, every 2 or 3 months, to make sure we're doing the right thing with the money. If this is an allocated expense, I don't see a problem with it. I do understand with federal dollars that locals should be hired, and that's something that needs to be dealt with between us and the contractor. But the residents should not have to suffer because of this. I mean, let's have a job fair and bring the people in that can do it or whatever. But I know for a fact that last time we had a job fair, there was not too many people that applied for that type of work. So to be factual, you can't force people to go to work. I mean, one of the biggest things that we have is opportunities right now, and I'm driving down every street that has a business, and they're saying now hiring. I thought I was at church for a minute there. I was going to get it. They say now hiring. I mean, when people are not going to work, you cannot force people into jobs. So if people want to work, I'm willing to even go to my committee or whoever's committee, whoever wants to put it forth, to bring back the job bank. But I think the job bank, we've had it, and nobody puts in, something for the opportunity to get a job. So thank you, Honorable Mayor, for this opportunity. I do support it. I mean, there's no use in kids walking down the streets when they can have a sidewalk that's safe. Some of our sidewalks that were in place look like, amusement park. They go up and down and up and down, and to be able to get one that's straight, maybe they can ride their bike or learn how to ride a bike or just walk safely to school. I do support it. Thank you, Honorable Mayor.
Thank you. Just for the record, I was told that Levette would never be fixed. And right now, the entire street and the sidewalk, all the way down, and not just Levette, they told me also McAllister, never. It's no money for the local streets. It's being done. And it's all over. So I do appreciate, Commissioner Henry, your tenacity to local inclusion. I asked Mr. Little, that's the first thing I asked him, how many people bid? Were there any black contractors that bid on this project? So, I think that we're all thinking the same, but to the Pro Tem's point, we can't make people, nor can we steer people to respond. That's why it's called RFP, request for proposal, but people have to respond, and that we can't make people do. Chair recognizes Commissioner Kennard.
Mayor, I'm not to say that you're not a truthful person, but I think we're on a whole different trend of what I'm hearing. I came here, they had a job fair. I asked them about...
I didn't mention the job fair.
Wasn't it a contract for workers getting work here in the city?
No, so this particular project, a RFP was put out through the newspaper and through the city website and through the clerk's office. And that process, we wait for people to respond. And my question to Mr. Little was, asked about the contractors.
Well, the one thing that I do want to say is that myself have been a business owner. I had landscaping that I had to offer. And they had, as you said, job fair. This here leads me to say, how fair is it? Many times, these things are put out for, to bid, these jobs to be bid on, but it's only certain people that review to see if they're qualified. Why wouldn't it come before the full body of us to at least get a chance to talk to the ones that you all even make a choice of?
Well, per the city charter, that's the separation where city council, city commission members, our role is not to be involved with choosing contractors and voting on the contract. That's a conflict.
Well-
That can get really
That can be,
move in the
but
wrong direction.
you have two that makes the choice of the 4 persons that we had even made choices for. They reviewed their resume, and they made the choice of 4.
We're talking about the RFP process. The contracting process, which is, per charter, is to be
If
done.
we got a finance director, that would be a contract with him, would it not be?
The finance director is a different role as it relates to the RFP process, which goes through the city clerk's office, and then the city manager recommends based upon the bids. But the bid process is open, where people can come in and witness when the bid is open, what the bid is, and who is recommended. And then it goes to the committee, and it's vetted there, public, then it comes to us for approval.
What reason before you speak, Commissioner Seats, I want to clear up my thought. When I was talking about the job fair, it leads me to believe that there's not fairness in it because they were showing all the jobs that was available here in the community, and people that had those type of businesses would be there to even talk directly with the business. And as I went to them to speak about the landscaping, I went around, one would show me to the other, and I made a whole circle and back to the same thing. So I asked later, what's the point of having this then if I'm going to end up just going around in a circle? They told me they hiring their own people. Well, what was they there for? So it's some problems here that we're not getting things, and especially when it comes to us investing in ourselves. This is a predominantly black community. And when it comes to blacks showing up, they're not applying for the jobs or this or that. But you make a difference in when they go forth to even get these jobs. There's barriers that's been put up from what I'm hearing. And I know, experiencing what they had me going around in a circle, there is a problem there. And we need to look into it because there's not a fairness in these job hiring, these contracts. Something is not going on just right. So I think we need to, as 9 of us here, we need to take a sharper look into what is going on when it comes to saying people are not applying for these jobs.
I call for the question. Oh,
No, go ahead.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Henry?
I'm sorry. What are we voting on?
Number 2.
Number 2? Yes.
Commissioner Isom?
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard?
No.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Warren?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark Griffin?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Motion carried.
This brings us to staff communication. I'd like to recognize the Deputy Director of Public Safety, Director Clark.
No report this evening, Your Honor.
Chair recognizes our City Attorney, Attorney Seneca.
No report.
The Chair recognizes our Assistant City Manager and City Clerk, Clerk Moore.
Last reminder that candidate packets are due tomorrow by 4 p.m. The official list of candidates will be out no later than next Monday at 4 PM.
The chair recognizes the city manager, Manager Little.
Thank you, sir. I made a note to just mention tonight that what you've pretty much said already, we do have work going all over the city under various different programs, and we've spent most of the winter getting things ready so that as soon as the season came, that we would be able to take maximum advantage of it. We've got work going on, as you said, out around Pavone, McAllister, City Hall parking lots going here. We just completed our bids on Hall Park, Bobo Brazil Center for part of the work there. The Empire Sidewalks and CDBG Sidewalk Program. You've got demolition starting in the city for the first time in a long time. And I'll admit myself, we started this thing on housing demolition 3 years ago and began to run through all kinds of challenges and problems, but we finally gotten there to where we're getting some done. There'll be 10 units taken out this summer, and part of that is money that's from that $2 million that was backed up that we were about to lose 2.5 years ago. I want to take a moment and just mention something else, and bear with me if you will. If you recall, when I came on board to try to address the problem with Community Development Block Grant, there was a series of things that we had to do before HUD would release that money. One of them, I'm sure you've probably forgotten about, I'm going to send a copy to everybody tomorrow morning, was policies and procedures. And those policies and procedures govern everything that we do. HUD has approved those policies and procedures, and if you recall, we went back and forth submitting them to them 3 or 4 times before we made the edits and changes that met their requirements. Those include the processes for bidding. They include the processes for Section 3 that only applies by law, is required when a project is over $200,000. Keep in mind, we only get, I believe last year we received 340, yeah, something like that.
198,000.
And when that's the case, recognize that when you're talking about a bid for somebody to do work that's $11,000, the average contractor doing a small job like that is going to be the guy that owns a business, maybe his son, one employee or something. He's not going to go out and lay his people off to try to rehire some people to cut and haul out a few trees. Most of our projects are small like that. The sidewalk project that we just had, remember, we went through that prior year too, where we bid it out, nobody would bid. Why? It was too small. We couldn't get bids until we bumped it up to where we were doing like $350,000. In this instance, we put out for bid, got no bids. In order to get bids, what we did was linked it up, since we had a sidewalk project that's going on up on Empire, that's being paid for through MDOT and state money, and we put ours in that same package, so the contractor's doing both pieces. And by doing that, we were able to get a bid. Or otherwise, we would probably not have gotten a bid at all. When you look at those policies and procedures, you're going to find in there the part that I mentioned about anything that we put in our CDBG package has to be in accordance with federal priorities. And we have a sheet that lists out what those are. The slum and blight thing is one of them that is primary for cities like Benton Harbor. And so that's what we're trying to do, clean up what we can with what little money we have to do it. And I'm rather proud to say we made a big difference with that CDBG money in this city. You got sidewalks all over the city that's looking good. Like I said, houses coming down, people we've been feeding, in addition to Meals on Wheels taking and delivering door-to-door meals. They've also been providing vegetables and protein that helps homebound seniors who can't go out and shop. We've been doing a lot with that money. And I just wanted to mention that.
Does the summer youth program?
Summer youth program is part of it. And in fact, again, talking about those rules, we're only allowed 15% for what they call services. And in our program, services are two things: the summer youth program and the community food and nutrition program that we feed the seniors. That comes, that 15% comes about $45,000. And between those two, that's what we spend that money on. You get a certain allowance to do other things, and we proportion and do the work that we do in accordance with that. Remember, just year before last, HUD sent 2 people here to spend the entire week looking at all the files, the programs, visiting people who receive the service, asking them questions and whatnot. We have to meet their requirements. There's nobody doing anything out of the ordinary, anything like that. But I do want to mention one other thing. As Commissioner Henry has constantly brought up Section 3 ever since I've been here. Again, I imagine you've probably forgotten, but about a year ago, I went back, I promised I was going to go back through and search the city system for what we had on Section 3. I found it. It was signed by the emergency manager in 2012. And what it said was just exactly what the rules are still saying. $200,000 and above contracts, Section 3 applies. But it also did something else that I've also mentioned. It stated the city's programs are so small that the opportunities for applying Section 3 are minimal to almost non-existent. He said, but the lion's share of federal money coming into the city of Benton Harbor goes through the Housing Commission. And that's still the case today. While we're talking about a program here that maybe 2 to 3 people will be working on, and I'm sure at least a couple of them are going to be the owner and his family, they're preparing to spend $50 million. $27 million on Harbor Towers, and I believe about 30-some million
32 million
on bus projects. They'll be hiring laborers to dig and do things. They'll be hiring laborers to haul materials and up and down the stairs and whatnot, carpenters, plumbers, all kinds of different people. Now, there's the opportunity to apply Section 3. When I'm saying anything over $200,000, once again, $50 million. That's where we ought to be taking and beating this drum about hiring people on Section 3.
I just want to thank you for that education and just explanation of the federal program, CDBG, and our audits are impeccable. So thank you. I do want to recognize the Commissioner at Large, Commissioner Kennard.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And it's wonderful to see some of you that I haven't seen for a while. And thank you for coming, and continue to come, please. And have an open mind to really look and examine what you hear. Thank you.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Henry.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm really glad that Section 3 is here. But there's a reason why Section 3 was even implemented. Because there was a need, and that's a people infrastructure need. True enough, we have small projects with our community block grant money, but federal money comes in a lot of places. And when it comes through the city, even with the lead, we didn't benefit from it. That was over 200,000. That's only 100,000. We didn't benefit from it. So I'm just saying that if we keep doing the same thing over and over and think we're going to get a different result, that don't work for us. It hasn't worked for us yet. So, yeah, we're going to work to see if the Housing Commission can be fair with us. But so far, the city has failed. Section 3. We didn't get a dime. We didn't get a job. I remember when they did the sidewalks on Union, there was 8 Benton Harbor residents out there learning to do concrete work. And 3 of those gentlemen and 1 lady are still out there working at that trade. So all the lead jobs and everything that we've done, there's no human infrastructure whatsoever. Now, that's all I got to say about it. We just can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over and not and getting the same we just can't do it. We gotta find a way to do people problems, infrastructure. If the biggest problem is our people, then those are the problems that we should be dealing with. We know that the sidewalks do what? The curbs, all of that is infrastructure, but it has nothing to do with people other than it is not going to change our lifestyle. It's not going to change our quality of life other than we can walk on sidewalks now. So, yeah, you can talk about Benton Harbor, but it's got to be about the people, or otherwise, brick and mortar can go away too. So, we just got to find some way to resource our money to the people infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes 4th Commissioner Clark Griffin.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight. And I agree with Mr. Tony Murphy, what he said earlier. These new trash rules have created a nuisance. And trash is everywhere. That's exactly why one of the reasons I did not vote for this. It's not, I think it creates a disadvantage for the elderly, the disabled, the bedridden residents. You know, they can't get out and come get a sticker, you know, so what do? They put it out, and then they can't get out. They can't afford it, a lot of them can't get out and pick up the trash or see what's blowing and what's, you know, all that. So even people with cars, you know, without cars. And I know a couple years ago, they said 90% of Benton Harbor didn't have a car. So how can they come out and get stickers? I think it should be revisited, and I think some things change. When I was in the MML training, they said that some of the areas, their residents, the elderly and, you know, disabled, they got lower rates, you know, discounted because of their income, you know. So I think that would even be something, you know, that would help, especially the elderly, bedridden, and like I say, how are they gonna get a sticker? You know, just to come every week and try to get a sticker and put on. It's got to be a better way, you know. So I agree with all that. Also, I agree with Miss Gwen, what she said about last meeting, where my hand was ignored. It was seen, but it was ignored. And this is not the first time that this has happened, you know. So, and even if my hand wasn't, you don't see a hand, you're still supposed to ask, do you want something to separate, just as it was done tonight and a lot of other times. But don't worry, it's being taken care of. The matter is being addressed. Everybody have a good night.
Chair recognizes Second Ward Commissioner Warren.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank everyone for coming out. A reminder that the Second Ward will be having our cleanup on May 17th from 10 to 12, and we're going to be meeting at Pipestone Park. If anyone has recures or rakes that we could borrow, we would really appreciate that. Next comment is the Boys and Girls Club. Every summer I'll do a group and I'll give them a stipend. We're going to be focusing on subsistence farming based on how high our grocery prices are. And we really want our youth to be dependent on themselves versus on anyone else. So want to teach them how to farm and garden. So if anyone has any tools for that, like shovels or even a wheelbarrow that they want to let us use, we would really appreciate that. And then I do agree with Commissioner Clark Griffin and Mr. Tony Murphy. I don't think we thought about the negative impact of someone having an extra trash bag out there and if the trash does blow. So that is a concern because we're having cleanups and we don't want to consistently have to re-clean the same area. So I would love it if we take another look at that because that is an impact if someone's putting trash in. What if their bag is not closed properly, it's blowing all over the area if it's sitting there, you know, for a week or so. So I would love for us to kind of relook at that piece because I don't think we thought about that. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Chair recognizes First Ward Commissioner Henderson.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, and I'd like to thank everyone who came out tonight, County Commissioner for your report. I'd also like to thank and congratulate the city manager because there has been a lot of work that has gone into all of the work that we see happening, the sidewalks, the construction that's happening in the community. And I don't want to discount that work because it is important and one of the reasons why everything is happening today. But also just wanted to talk briefly about there's always going to be room, again, for improvement. There's always going to be something that somebody disagrees with about what's happening. But until recently, which would be the last 5 years, there was nothing being built in Benton Harbor. People were already counting us out in this community. Benton Harbor ain't this or Benton Harbor ain't that. And to see all of the work that has gone in, we've had people here for 20 or more years who served in this community, on this council for that long, that didn't even see those kinds of things happen and changes happening in the community. And to see those things happen now, and just to hear Commissioner Yarborough talk about some of the history of buildings and things in this community is powerful because Benton Harbor has a strong history, a long history that I think is discounted or not understood or not known. And I also wanted to talk briefly about just moving forward in this community. We often judge others by ourselves by our intentions and others by our behavior, by their behaviors. But intentions is something that cannot be judged because you don't know what somebody's thinking or feeling. All you see is their behaviors. And to always consistently in our community, and it's not just here, but throughout our community in different areas, we judge people by what we think they're doing versus asking questions. So sitting here listening to the city manager, a lot of what he talked about I knew, but to hear him give some depth and some breadth to what he was saying is important. And a lot of times, all we need to do is ask the questions, have the meetings. One thing that our current city manager has done and has been intentionally doing is meeting with different commissioners to get us information so that we can ask any questions and to understand anything that's happening, even to challenge what he's doing. And I have had the opportunity to do that. And my personality is, you're not just going to give me information without me pushing back on it. And so he'll sit down and explain things that is going on so that and I can only speak for me, have a better understanding. But every commissioner on this committee and on this commission has that same opportunity to get a better understanding, to ask deeper questions and get to the answers to things so that you can better explain it to your constituents so that we can decrease this distrust that exists among leaders. Because at the same time, all of us began to serve for a reason. We wanted to improve our community. How we do that is based on our individuality and how we think. But at the same time, the end goal is to improve the quality of life and the quality that people have in this community. And I think we need to work on, as a whole, understanding where people are coming from. We are all two fellas in the same ship. We are all in the same ship, trying to row in the same direction. And I think for all of us that are leaders who serve, want to do that for the people in this community. So just moving forward, I'm so optimistic about our community, our future, our schools, and the things in this community that our residents that are being offered to our residents, and I hope that we continue to work and get the work done in Benton Harbor. So thank you all.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Just listening to a lot of the talk with streets and sidewalks and things being done. You do every time you drive, you gotta go take another route or whatever. So it's a lot being done. But one of the concerns that I heard talked about is the flooding, in the streets. We've had some historical locations that's, constantly flooding and things. Public Works was passed on to the Public Safety Committee, and so we're exploring some initiatives to deal with some of the flooding. And one initiative we're looking at is called Operation Drain Opening, and looking at some ways to identify every drain in the city of Benton Harbor. We know those problems, but we need to know all of them, get them marked, and come up with a way to get them cleaned out. I think in one way is since the drains being open is real essential to helping the streets last a long time, that we may be able to look at some of the city income tax money, because it's for streets, sidewalks, So I think you could take that drain cleaning and fund it, I'm not saying break the bank, but at least begin to address those ones that's very problematic, and get those done, and at some point eventually getting them all done. I think it'll pay off in the long run, because it's going to allow our streets to last longer. They looking good, and we got a lot more work to do. But 5 years later, we don't want to go back and have to do the same thing over again because we didn't do the maintenance on the drains. So those are some of the things that we're working on, and we'll be coming back to city manager and the commission to get that initiative going and putting the nuts and bolts to it to see how it can happen and get everybody's opinion and, make that happen. So that's one of the things we're working on. So don't have anything else.
Thank you, Commissioner Singleton. Chair recognizes Commissioner at Large Isom.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. I'd like to thank Ms. Tracy Robinson taking Stephanie's place. I'm sure she's going to do a great job. Thank you for inviting us to the Day of Impact. I'm sure they're going to have good food there, too, like they always do. That's important. Protein, healthy stuff, Thank you for that, and thank you for the Yarborough. I took off work the other day, and I thought it was the other day. I went down and I seen nobody, but it's May 17th, so I got it, I didn't have my glasses on at the time. But anyway, thank you, Commissioner Yarborough, President of the library, does such a great job. Thank you for the update from the county and the library. We got work to do tomorrow. You got work to do tomorrow. And thank you, Ms. Johnson, for your concern. Thank you for coming out. Thank Mr. Tony for his concerns. It's a lot. I'm just going to read a little brief, paragraph from Deputy Director Casmack. They started this Beautify Benton Harbor program beginning March 31st, 2025. The Benton Harbor Department of Public Safety Code Compliance Division will launch Beautify Benton Harbor, a citywide initiative to reduce blight and improve residents' quality of life. From March 31st to September 30th, code compliance officers will conduct property inspections across all 4 city wards to identify and address ordinances violations. Property owners found to violate the city code ordinance will be notified via mail, pink door tags provided with a timeline for compliance. Our goal is to obtain compliance only as a last resort will citations be issued. The Beautify Benton Harbor program will address vacant buildings, overgrown lots, structural issues, illegal dumping, abandoned vehicles, and other concerns affecting the city's appearance and safety. This program also aims to identify vacant buildings along with their safety and requires owners to register their vacant properties. The Beautify Benton Harbor initiative will contribute to a healthier, safer, and more vibrant community by reducing blight and improving property conditions. Cleaner neighborhoods enhance property values and promote a sense of pride and well-being among residents. This effort is crucial in revitalizing Benton Harbor and ensuring a better quality of life for all who live and work here. Residents are encouraged to report blight concerns by calling 269-927-8418. The City of Benton Harbor and the Department of Public Safety will share updates on the program on their Facebook pages. That was a great presentation that clerk did. Did we send that to? Can we send that presentation out to the rest of the? Yeah, I would like for them to see that. And they started a program called Red X. These houses people are living in and just beyond repair. I think some of them might be on a demolition list, but this program is 16 days in. I think he said he had 189 code violations and 17 citations. So it's helping the city, if we can live a better quality of life. The street sweeper been out at the public safety meeting. We talked about the street sweeper going throughout the city, so that's a plus sign. The Personnel and Finance meeting is Wednesday. We should be getting the draft of the budget pretty soon here. So, and I think we have open meeting about action plan meeting. Clerk, at the Personnel and Finance meeting, action. Can you bear with me, Mayor? There's one more thing to say.
Double check if it's this week.
Okay. And there's one more thing to say. I just please go to the monument and get your seat at the table. Try it. God bless you. Expect great things. It's happening.
Chair recognizes Mayor Pro Tem Seats.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Everybody who's here, thank you for coming out. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Commissioner Yarborough, and your dedication to what you do. You've been doing it for a lot of years, and you have left a mark in Benton Harbor that will never be forgotten. Benton Harbor is on the right path. Down here on Wall Street, if you've seen it, it's fenced off. We're getting ready to build a building for our residents. They're not building something for somebody else. This is going to be for low to moderate income people to have a better chance of having a better lifestyle or living, which could attract more people into coming. You know, the sad reality, but true, is that no matter what you do, you always have people who will say you're not doing enough. And from where we've come to where we're at, it has been monumental. All the lead lines have been replaced. People are getting brand new siding on their houses, brand new windows for free. Housing repairs for free. No charge. But yet nobody talks about any of that. And there's been no meeting where somebody actually came down here and they literally said thank you. And this is not something that they just said, we're going to give it to you. This is something that somebody had to go have conversations and make happen. This is something we had to vote on. These things we voted on to make happen. And yet and still, because of personality conflicts, because you don't agree with a person, maybe if there was some other people when they did the same thing, or maybe if they did half of it, we would say they were doing an excellent job. But because you might not like a person, then it's horrible. But yet we reap the benefit. Benefits, there are people who are literally made money hand over fist during times, and yet now they saying they didn't get nothing. It's a funny thing, and being in this position and being in this council, none of us have any reason to hang our head low. You guys have made this city much better. This team has made this city much better. Yeah, everybody has room for improvement. Every city in the state of Michigan has room for improvement. But we're the only one that can say that even with the lead abatement or the lead services, that we completed something in a record time. But nobody, and guess what? It was because of everybody else except us. It was because of everybody. People went to Washington, but y'all. They went to the state of Michigan, but y'all. And people were hoarding and robbing and lying and all this kind of stuff. And it was everybody but the commission. You know, so, hey, it is what it is. We're going to keep on moving. I still got unfinished business. So have a great night.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank everyone for coming out. I'd like to thank Commissioner Yarborough for your report. I'd like to thank Mrs. Robinson for your representation. And this is another check where we started with Union Park, Broadway Park, now June Woods, Charles Yarborough Park, dedication, Morton Hill, that's going to be Morton Park coming up. And the best is yet to come. I serve as the chair or president of the Black Mayors of Michigan, where you have 15 cities, Ecorse, Flint, Ferndale, Harper Woods, Highland Park, Inkster, Jackson, Lathrop Village, Muskegon Heights, Pleasant Ridge, Port Huron, Saginaw, River Rouge, Ypsilanti, and out of all due respect to my colleagues, nowhere any of those other cities can compare to the development, the construction that's taking place in Benton Harbor. And I'm boots on the ground. We meet this Friday in Lansing. But $28 million, people said Harbor Towers never was going to get fixed. When we did a walkthrough with Congressman Heisinger, people said I was grandstanding, you know, he was doing this and that. He went back to Washington, contacted Secretary of HUD, Marcia Fudge, and now the money is flowing. Bus projects, $32 million. Project T, 80 units. We just moved closer tonight with a vote by this council. Corner of Wall Street, which will be a grocery store, and 55 units, which the Mayor Pro Tem mentioned. We have $10 million for Ox Creek. We already have $1.5 million for the Armory, and I've been meeting with Congressman Heisinger again, and we're working through where the $20 million for the Community Change Grant, where that money will be released. So we're right there. Then we also have Hall Park, where we just put the bids out, where we are using $1 million for the Spark Grant. So it's a lot of great things that are taking place in our community. As far as our parks is concerned, the parks are accessible right now. It's no charge. The only charge is a rental if people want to have the park for exclusive use. That's the only time there's a charge. But if you want to have your baptism at Gene Clark, if you want to have your family, you know, lay your blanket down, have lunch at the park, you want to have your children go play, it's no charge for that. But if you want to block it off for your class reunion or for exclusive use for your group, which takes away public access, then there is a charge. But otherwise, there is no charge to use our parks for public access. So we just want to put that out there. But for exclusive use, there is a rental fee. But you know, I'm excited about what's going on in our community, and I think that we have a lot to be proud of. And I'd like to, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion's made by Mayor Pro Tem Seats. Is it support? It's supported by Commissioner Warren. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Clark Griffin,
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes.
Commissioner Isom.
Yes.
Commissioner Kennard,
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Warren,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Seats,
Respect those things, yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Meeting's adjourned.